What's up, y'all? You're now listening to the What Now podcast. I'm Dr. Spencer Dupre, owner of Empower Chiropractic.
And I am Dr. Zach Thompson, owner of Within Chiropractic. The purpose of this podcast is to document and share the experiences of two young business owners as we open our own brick-and-mortar chiropractic practices. Join along as we discuss all of our wins, our losses, insights, and the many, many lessons we learned.
As a disclaimer, none of this is ever intended to be medical, legal, or financial advice. Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the What Now podcast. We're back again with another episode, hopefully with better audio quality. That's what we've been hearing from you guys. Looking forward to keeping this rolling. I think it's going to work out well. A lot better for us. What's up, Zach? How are you, dude?
What's up, man? Just chilling. Apologies, I am slightly congested. I've gotten Texas allergens for the last 5 years, and I was strong. I never really had allergies. And now that I own a business and have a little bit more stress in life, allergies are getting me. But that's all right. We persevere. We're taking our elderberry, sitting in the sauna. Not currently recording in my office, but yeah, we're going to push through. We're going to be okay. I'll get checked. I'll get adjusted. And hopefully I don't sound like this much longer. So bear with us on the congestion. Spence, how you doing? What's a big win from this past week other than those fancy new shirts you got?
Oh, man. Well, the shirts got the wrong color printed on them. So it is a win because I found this older couple who lives in the neighborhood next door to me. They do t-shirts. They got me 12 shirts in 3 days. It's insane. Ordered them on Friday.
I don't know the average turnaround for shirts.
I think that's like 2 weeks usually, and so it's really fast. But their printer guy printed the wrong color on my logo, so I have 12 dud shirts. But now I'm saying they're the limited edition ones.
Nice.
Yeah, another big win. We have officially posted our job listing for a care advocate, practice coordinator lead position. We're really looking for someone to become the face of the office and really start to ramp up, doing a lot of things in preparation for scale and growth.
Nice.
I feel like that's where we're at currently.
How's it been going trying to bring someone on? Have you had leads? Have you had people coming in to interview?
Yeah, I've had a couple people that have done like pre-phone screenings, and so far I only have one person that really kind of fits the bill for someone. So she's coming tomorrow, Wednesday, during lunch for us to meet, her to check out the office and us to talk about some things. I'm talking to Justin about our hiring process and kind of what to expect with that. So that's exciting. I'm excited for that. I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, that'll be huge. I think
yes.
If you've listened to this podcast, I'm a huge fan of hiring before you're ready. You've heard Spencer talk about that as well. So I'm excited for Empowered Chiropractic to bring someone up. It'll be a big game changer for sure.
Yes, we're ready. We're ready for some more growth, and we're ready to really kick it into the next gear. That's what I feel like. For this Q2, we're going to try to be hiring somebody.
Nice, dude.
So it's good. I've hit last month I hit my 6-month goal of consistent 50 visits a week. Nice. And now we're moving actually closer to my 1-year goal of like 80 a week. Okay. And we actually did that last week. And so that was a big win. Hitting goals, doing well.
That's huge.
I think Zach is frozen.
Am I still frozen?
Not anymore. You're good.
Nice. Good.
What about you, Zach? What's a win for you?
I think the biggest win in the past, I typically view wins through how our patients are doing, not to sound like cliche or anything. So let me shift my brain business-wise, but we actually just hit a big milestone in our practice on Friday. Friday was exactly 6 months of us being open, and on Friday last week we saw over 100 patient visits, which was huge.
Nice.
That was
on just Friday?
No, that'd be crazy.
Okay.
The entire week. Not quite there yet. That obviously that's the next goal. Not quite. But similar to Spence already getting close to his yearly goal. That was our 1 year goal. So to hit that in month 6 just shows, we're doing something right. And so just got to continue to hammer the right things and figure out where our leaks are. But other than that, I mean, that was a big win. Learning to celebrate wins better. And so I didn't really do anything because I suck at celebrating wins. So something I'm working on. But yeah, it was a big win. It felt good. I was curious how my body would feel after all that stress adjusting. I never adjusted 100 people in a week, except on mission trips. But yeah, body held up fine. So on to the next goal. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I'm terrible at celebrating wins. We need to plan something to celebrate our wins.
Yeah. We record podcasts. That's, to me, this is a win. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think having Tuesday mornings off is enough celebration for me each week.
Yep.
Off as in not adjusting, not off as in resting.
Yeah. Sweet, man. So what's going on? Obviously, you're working through systems. We had a pretty good conversation yesterday as you were doing your 12-3-30 to get your hot girl walk on at the gym.
Dude, yeah.
You are diving back into a book that was recommended to us by Dr.
Everyone.
Yale and everyone. But Book Yourself Solid, which we both read, I think, right around close to when we were both about to graduate. But fill the listeners in. What came through as you picked the book back up now that you've been in 6 months of business?
Well, the first time I read the book, I remember, I think I read the book, I was in Try 9, and it's like talking all about your clients and how to book yourself solid, as in like your schedule, and it's all about how to flourish in business and do that from a place of abundance and ideal clientele. And when you have no clients and you have no experience working with people or trying to go through the acquisition process of getting people to work with, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And I remember legitimately sitting in this coffee shop reading this book and falling asleep because I was like, this book is a snoozer, dude. Like, it's so boring. And then I was like, man, I finished all the other books that I was reading. And so I picked up this one again, and I was like, let me just kind of flip through it. And then I was like, man, all of these things are so important now. And I was like, man, this has like real juice to it now. And like, I really get it. And so like literally just like how to identify like who is your ideal clients. Like I picked this up like 2 days ago. So I'm on chapter 2, try to read chapter 9 before bed. And the first one is literally just talking about the red velvet rope policy and about how it like really actually makes people want to be in your practice more, and like having an experience in business doing that. When people call in and they're obviously not our ideal clients and they're not like going to get the experience that they're looking for, sometimes it's actually better just to refer them away because and in my experience, I've done that actually a couple times. There's a guy down the street who does the complete opposite thing that what we do. He's like a pop and pray clinic that is like, hey, we're gonna come in, get adjusted, do some scraping on you, show you some exercises. We're gonna do all that stuff. They adjust on the first visit. They allow for pay-per visits, and that's awesome because that's his business model, and it's great because it's not mine at the same time. So literally, to like, for those of you who haven't read the book, the first chapter is on the red velvet rope policy, which is literally like treating your practice like a club, and it's basically like, can you get in? Can you not? And what that does is it creates demand, but it also filters out like people who are going to like suck the life out of your practice. And it also will, it just really like helps you avoid all the negative things about being in business, about giving people bad experiences, especially like being in a really small town. Like I'm in, where word of mouth like spreads like fire. And so I really am very, very cognizant and very aware of the experience that I'm giving to people or that I'm creating for people. And I really want to not control, but really support the things that they say. And I want to make sure that they are good things. And so I try to limit the negative experiences in my practice. And that's what the red velvet rope policy is. It's basically like, if for my practice, we're focused on kids, moms, and people who want natural, consistent care, and value measurements and like tailoring to their care. And then like when people call in all the time and they're like, hey, I'm just in town, I'm looking to get my back really hurts, can you pop my back? And you're like, hey man, I don't think this is the right place for you, I think you should go down the street. And they actually really appreciate it. And then every time that I refer somebody away, somebody who's an ideal client calls in at the same time and we take them on. So it limits the amount of negative space in your practice. So that was my biggest takeaway from chapter 1, because whenever I first read it, dude, it was literally like, I'll take anyone. Why would I have a red velvet rope when I have no one? So I'll take anyone. And that is definitely not the case anymore.
And I think a few things that you mentioned just to unpack is one, exactly what you just said. As chiropractors, basically anyone with the spine we could take care of, which if you're doing the math, that's everybody as far as I'm concerned. I don't know anyone without a spine. It'd be pretty tough to live. But, you know, I don't think snakes have a spine. Anyways, people.
Yeah, they do. Snakes have spines.
There's some animal that doesn't. Anyways,
Worms.
Who?
Worms. Worms don't have spines.
Yeah, but they're an insect, not an animal.
Worms are not insects.
Yeah, they are.
Insects have a thorax.
Anyway. Little National Geographic lesson there for you. But I was the same way where it's like, I'll take anyone. I mean, I just opened my doors. Why should I, look to turn down anyone? And you start to get going through practice and you're like, oh wait, like why didn't this person seem like they wanted to be adjusted and they didn't really like the care plan, or they didn't like the scans or this and that. And it's like, oh, I didn't do anything to vet them. I didn't do anything to inquire about what they're looking for. And that's been a huge thing I've been learning with Dr. Travis with Making Moves, is the concept of not just pre-framing in the pre-day one phone call, but also in the messaging of marketing and social media and everything I'm saying at networking events, is just really making it known what we do, who we serve, more so who we serve and what we do. It's important to make that known. It's vice versa. It's who we serve and then how we do that. But really making sure that message is fine-tuned in a sense where it starts to attract the right people. To one, Spencer is still doing this on himself, but it was tough when I didn't know this and I was having Joshua, my office manager, he would almost get, upset because people would call in or would inquire and they wouldn't be a good fit. And we had a vetting process, but he was like, I just don't get why like these people don't want to receive our care. Like this stuff is the next sliced bread. And I didn't know either. I was like, maybe, this guy's not very good on the phone or whatever. But it was because we just had a bad pre-framing, pre-vetting process. And so we've really started to fine-tune that. Again, working with Travis on Making Moves has been super beneficial. But it's this concept that in school I had no idea of. And so really had to work around that to make some big changes.
What does that pre-framing phone call sound like for you guys? Kind of walk me through it. Like if I'm someone on the phone, what are you telling me?
Yeah, so basically our pre-framing, I mean, I could pull up the script on my computer right now, but first thing is we ask them, what do they have going on? And so one, we want to know what are they actually dealing with, for multiple reasons. One, to actually connect with them, but also two, to tailor that entire script to what's going on with them, and to always anchor back in results based around that concept. So Spencer, if you call in and you're like, hey, I saw your ad on Instagram, I'm dealing with headaches, right? Joshua or myself now know to always, anchor into headaches. We'll ask, what does that been like for you? What can you not do? Is it holding you back? Are there any limitations because you have headaches? And then from there, we get to know a little bit more and more, and we're like, okay, great. Like, due to our, we've seen a lot of great success with people that have suffered from headaches, and here's why. And then we ask them, hey, if it's okay with you, can I spend the next 2 minutes going over our new patient process? That way you have a better idea of what's going on. And then we tell them everything we're going to do in that day one process. They're going to get an office tour. They're going to get spinal and stress scans to locate and detect exactly where the root cause of their issues are. Then we're going to do a couple orthopedic and neurological exams, and then finish with a spinal palpation. Never mentioning the adjustment. They don't get adjusted on the first visit. And then we go, and then in our second part of the day 2 process, or of our new patient process, which is included in we're running right now. This is April 2023. So right now we're running a $47 new patient exam. And in the day 2 process, which is included in that $47 payment, you will receive your exam adjustment, which is an additional $65 if you don't want to sign on to care. But if you do, we'll roll it into your care plan. Then Dr. Zach will go over all of your scans and then present to you the game plan that best fits your goals and your needs to get you the results that you're wanting. Is that something you want to go through with? And to that, it's up to them, yes or no. And then they'll typically ask, do you take insurance? We say no, and all the likes of that. So we have a lot built in there to really vet them. And some people, the goal is to make them super excited. With that red velvet or that red rope idea, you want them really excited. Like, I remember I used to party a lot in college. If I heard about a new club, like I got really excited about it, right? And so I wanted to be excited going into Friday night that I'm going to this new club. And it's the same thing with our practice. So I don't know if that answered that question, but yeah.
No, yeah, it does. I mean, that's pretty similar to mine. We just answer the phone. Well, I say we all the time because like I talk about me and my practice as in like it's something that like I'm working with. I don't know. I always say we. Because like, even though it's just me right now doing the systems, it's still like community. I don't know. I always say we. I never can say like my practice or me or whatever. It's always we.
I did the same thing because I knew it was never just going to be me.
Yeah, it feels like Venom, like when he's like what's his name, the Hardy, what's his name, Tom Hardy or whatever. He's like, we are hungry. Anyway, so I think about that all the time. But yeah, so like whenever we answer the phone over here, we say like, hey, welcome to Empower, like this is Empower Chiropractic. How can we help you? And they always say like, I'm calling in to see if you can help with my kids, blah blah blah. Or they're saying like, I walked by and I was wondering if you can help with this. And we always say like, yep, we see tons of success with cases just like yours. Can I ask how you found us? And usually they say like, we walked by, or we heard about you, or we found you on Google, or I found you on the database or whatever. And they're like, oh wow, that's awesome. Yes. So well, we're so glad that you called. And then we just say like, we would love to get you in for your initial visit. And so we have a 2-day onboarding process in our initial visit. We're going to go over your paperwork, and that it's just a guide for us to have a conversation so we can get to know you better and set some goals and figure out what's going on. And then we're also going to talk about chiropractic and explain how it can specifically fit for your needs. And then we'll go through a series of advanced nervous system scans because we want to know exactly how the nervous system is operating, since it's the thing that controls everything that goes on in your body. How does that sound to you? And they say, great. And you say, well, and then in between your first and second visit, what we'll do is we'll go over all the details of everything and the goals that you set, and we'll put together a custom care plan specifically for you to help you achieve the goals that we set together. We'll put it all into a folder and we'll explain everything that's going on and how all the dots connect. And then we'll do the first adjustment and go over care recommendations following that. How does that sound to you? And they're like, oh, it sounds great. I'm like, okay, well, when would you like to get on the schedule for your first visit? When can we book your first visit? And you're like, well, we have this, this, and this. And we say, okay, what about that second visit? And that's it. Say, all right, well, we'll see you soon. And I'm going to send you some intake forms to your email that you provided me, and fill those out beforehand. You can fill them out on your phone. It'll take about 5 minutes to do. And we always tell them, so basically like having these conversations is super important, like to your client's success, because confused people don't buy. And so that means the name of the game is no surprises. And I learned that from Dr. Denise Weber's Conversation Lab, which is phenomenal course, like phenomenal. And it just helps basically like build all of the conversations to where you can have these systems that bring people through an experience rather than like, hey, just you trying to get adjusted. Like, I think that whenever we go through school, like we all think that like that's what it's like to be a chiropractor, is like, hey, trying to get adjusted, and then whip out the portable table, adjust them, and then people pay. And it's like, that is not it.
Yep. And it's huge too, like with the no surprises. I know prior to implementing the pre-framing, and we don't just pre-frame on the day one phone call. That's been the biggest thing with Travis, is because I would pre-frame on the phone call, but I wouldn't pre-frame after that. So every visit builds on each other.
Yep.
And, you know, in the beginning, I say that in the beginning, it still happens. Well, it doesn't happen anymore, but really up until February, you know, we'd have people where I thought I would mention the care plan or this or that. And then we'd sit down and I'd present, you know, here's the 3-month, 4-month, 5-month care plan that's personally tailored for you. And they're like, oh, I didn't know I was like coming in for this type of, you know, I thought I was coming in to get adjusted this one time. And so you're already having to fight that battle. And so with the pre-framing, it really allows people, because most likely they're still going to come in, at least we found. But it allows there to be no confusion when the big offer comes in. So it's helped a ton. I think it's essential now that I've been using it for quite a while. So super grateful for Travis helping us out there. But it's not easy, because you want to just get people in when you first open. So you're just like, come in, like we'll get you adjusted. And then you slowly realize that that kind of stinks, because then you're having to work through all this, you know, for our day one, day two process, it takes a lot of work. It's a lot of time. Ours is a half hour on day one, 20 minutes on day two. So it's almost an hour on top of the mental stamina to work through a care plan, create that, get them on the schedule, everything of that nature. It's a lot of time, not just for us, but for them. And so we don't want to feel like we're wasting people's time or not wasting people's time.
That's true. Yeah, it's so much that goes like into the process. And it's funny because like as we go through school, we always think that it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna like open my door and people are just gonna lay on the table and that's all I'm gonna do all day. And it's like, dude, having your own practice and being like the guy for everything is you create everything, you have to generate everything until like it starts to snowball. And I think it's like, honestly, I think it's so important that both of us don't adjust on the first visit, because it pre-frames like subconsciously the context of delayed gratification. And that's like such a big thing in chiropractic care, because everybody wants to like come in and feel immediate change. And like there's immediate change, but people think that they're like, oh, I'm going to come in and 20 years of my whatever is going to go away, or my kid's chronic this is going to stop. And sometimes that really does change. But I think when you have a 2-day process, it sets them up and sets the expectation of, hey, this is a process. The whole thing is a process, right? And so like the macro builds into like the micro, right? That's also why like you can't, like in my practice, people can't book their initial visits online by themselves, because we want to have the pre-framing phone call or the pre-framing text or email or whatever. We want to have that. So have you, and we'll keep it on like the acquisition thing, have you ever gotten, I know you have, but how do you respond like to those DMs of people who are like, hey doc, how would you feel if I could get you 15 new clients on your books today?
I typically don't answer, but yeah, I mean, you definitely get those. There's nothing, I mean, those people in some practice models, they work, but I'm already committed to working with someone else that's helping me generate new patients. So I'm like, I either tell them that, or it's like some dude's name, and this is gonna sound, I'll probably get canceled for this, but it's some dude's name that I can't pronounce, either the first or last name or both. And so I'm like, you didn't even follow me. Like, you have 10 followers So I'm either going to get spammed into like selling crypto or looking like I sell crypto, or, this is just not going to work. So I'll just delete it. But it is pretty amusing. I think that happens like every other week. We get hit with those. So it's amusing for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I used to like when I interned at Best Life, like we had gone through this like thing, and like the big thing that I was seeing is like people were like following us through this like Facebook funnel, and they would book through the Facebook funnel, and like we would be like, wow, dude, we have seven like day ones like today. That's gonna be awesome. And like 5 of them would no show, no call. One of them would call and like cancel, and then one person would show up, if that. And it's
Yep.
like, dude, that's tough, man. That's like those are highs and lows and highs and lows. Like that's so emotionally volatile. And I think that's another reason why like I was having this conversation, like we don't do any pay per visits over here. Like you either do the monthly or you do it in full or something like that. But we don't do like pay per visits because that's like a high and low and high and low. Basically, you're literally having to go through your sales system every single time that person comes in the door. And that's
Yep.
exhausting
Yep.
emotionally.
And I
And
think in the health and wellness industry, um, I don't know many places that are pay per visit. No one pays per visit when you go to the gym. No one pays per visit when you go to maybe a massage, but even then they still have packages and everything like that. So it's an interesting model for sure. It works for some people, uh, but I mean, to your point on like there is people that work through a funnel. Um, we all have a funnel whether we know it or not, and
yep.
it's just how well are you able to follow up on leads and stuff of that nature. And one thing that I've really changed my mindset to is when when someone calls in, like it's either they're gonna come see us to get adjusted, or they're gonna go to another chiropractor if they say no to us, or they're gonna go down to the pain management specialist and they're gonna get prescribed a huge bottle of oxy or painkillers, or they're gonna end up getting surgery or things of that nature. So we take it pretty seriously to always follow up and get them either to come see us or a provider that even if it's the joint, I don't mind sending people to the joint as long as they're getting adjusted. Like it's it's better than surgery and pain medications.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's huge, right? Like to when you realize that people are taking action to inquire about your services, that means that they want it, right? And so like why would you not like deliver awesome service? Or like when we talk about the red velvet rope thing, it doesn't mean that you're turning away business. It's you're turning away business that's bad for your space. That's not a right fit for your space. You should send them to someone else because that generates their business. And then that makes, as like a member of your community, I mean, that makes you a resource and a valuable tool for people. And then people are going to start to appreciate you instead of being like, what's in it for me? You can be like, what's in it for all of us? Right. And yeah, I don't know. Some of these conversations are tough, and it's like really hard to be like an effective communicator if you don't have an idea of like what's going on. Like these, like it for a while, for like a week or two, which felt like an eternity for me, like my first 2 weeks, trying to have these conversations like off of off the dump, like off the dome was like what I thought my practice was going to be like. Like, I want everything to be authentic. But like these systems and these flow charts build your authenticity because you have direction. And like that's the biggest thing. It's the same thing for the care plan. It's the same way I do Atlas faucet temperature. Every single time that we check someone, and especially a kid, like we check Atlas faucet temperature every single time because it gives us direction. It doesn't tell us what to do. It's not putting us in a box. But what it's doing is it just gives us this direction, like so we can best deliver on the things that we are saying that we can.
Yep, and I think we've talked about this before, but now training my office manager um, on it is you got to know that framework because you're working with non-linear things. People are not linear. You can't just like take someone exactly through the sales script. You got to know exactly what's going on. And yes, I said sales script. It is a sales script. You are selling yourself. So get over that yesterday. You are a salesman whether you want to or not. And I know that might sound harsh for some people that listen, but whether you're in your chiropractic office selling, or you're selling to your partner to go to this restaurant, or you're selling to your kids to eat their freaking vegetables, you're a salesman, whether you want to be or not. It's just how life works. We're always selling. There would be no evolution if we weren't salesmen. Um, I guarantee you, the first caveman that started a fire was trying to sell himself to some cave woman who was cold, right? That's how it started to work. Um, so one, yes, it is a sales script. And two, you need to have those pieces in your framework because someone, you could be working through what they have going on and they're like, oh, wait, I need to ask if they take insurance, or I need to ask, are they open on Saturdays? Or I need to ask, do they do pay per visit? Or I need to ask, what is the typical charge? And so we have all of those built into to where, whether it is Joshua or the next person we hire as a CA, they can easily scroll down. It's just on the second page, find it. There's the answer. They know how to tailor it. And so there is some studying required with your own frameworks. Because just like Spencer said, I've tried to do the authentic way. And then I realized I just rambled on for 5 minutes and they're like, I wish I hung up or wish I never answered this call because I have no idea what this dude's talking about. And boom, there goes the sales. So, yeah, that was my little rant there. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I remember my first call that I remember this is the reason I made my phone call script or like guidelines, is because I had a call and I was just like, yeah, so what we'll do is, hey, like I'm gonna send you this really quick, and then the guy came in super confused and I was like, never again. Never again will I get caught with my pants down, like stuck like that. And like we all think that it's like a script, but it's like, like it's the same. Like we both played football, right? And every game is different, but the plays are the same.
I mean, the
right?
NFL has a script too.
Well, yeah, we know that professional sports are scripted to drive views, but that's another conversation for another time. But like we both played football, right? And like you have these plays like in your back pocket, but it's up to whoever's calling the play to determine the situation to then like authentically and genuinely call the play, right? I think like sometimes like we think like, oh, like I want to be authentic. And I think that we sometimes take for granted the word of authenticity and we confuse it with preparedness, right? Just because you want to be authentic does not mean that you should not be prepared. I think that's like one of the
your authenticity can come through in your frameworks, in your scripts. Like
yeah
it's up to you, right? And I think one of the best things is in chiropractic there's all these different coaches and practice management groups, and you can, for the most part, take all of that if it's done the right way. You can take a lot of what they're teaching and coaching and apply it to yourself. It's when I get weary is when I hear a coach that's like, I did it this way and I only know how to coach it this way and there's no other way to do it because I did this. And it's like those are all just business concepts that you utilize to then become successful. It's not, there's like the decompression table guys or this or that. But it's having the business concepts in your back pocket to tailor everything to fit your practice. And it can really be a beautiful thing. And it can be authentic. You can have nice conversations. You don't have to like, I've never yelled at someone on the phone to like get them in, everyone, I think we all have this weird connotation around sales that you gotta be yelling and you gotta be screaming and you gotta be Jordan Belfort from Wolf of Wall Street, who's a great salesman, but you don't have to be that. You can be still your authentic self. It's when it's one, the ability to handle no, which is we do a whole nother episode on that. But two, it's having those frameworks in mind so that when you do get told no, it's because you didn't follow the framework or they weren't the right fit. It's one or the other. So there's that too.
Yeah. How does it feel to be told no? What's your, like when someone tells you no in terms of care plan or coming back in or whatever, how does that make you feel?
It depends where in the funnel, if you will, they say no. If they say no to the care plan, one, it's surprising. We have a 88% conversion rate. So one, it's surprising, doesn't happen very often. And two, I ask, okay, well, what are the next, like, what is your plan going forward? And so we have that discussion. And as long as they have a plan, they're like, I'm just going to go, I'm going to keep trying these stretches and this and that. Like, okay, like stretches haven't gotten rid of your pain, but if that's what you want to continue doing, sure thing. But I think what's helped me a ton is, and this is going to sound so silly, but growing up, I didn't have a lot of fear of asking anything, but more specifically, like I didn't have a lot of fear like asking girls on dates and stuff like that. And when you have that mindset, you get told no quite a bit. And so I was used to being told no. Um, and for me, I didn't take it too personally. So already had that going on for me. I don't know if that answers the question at all, but being told no to me, I don't really get too caught up in it. I just know one from an abundance mindset that typically when someone says no and I handled it correctly, someone's coming right back to say yes. So that's that's my thoughts on being told no.
Yeah. Yeah, I just say that because like I really don't feel any type of way about it because like
Yeah.
I know I did my part and I've conveyed all the value and I've done everything that I could and I just presented the information. And if the answer is no, then the answer is no. Like I like to work very rationally, very logically. I like to see everything out in front of me. And if like I'm still like, hey man, like that's just not it, then like that's what it is. It's not a personal thing. It's just not a fit for them. And I would rather somebody make a decision that is best for them and have a positive experience than someone feel forced or obligated to sign up for something, then have a negative experience in our place. And so when people say yes, that means that they're saying like, I'm committed to having a positive experience in here. And I know the direction that usually the care will go after they say yes to the care plan. It's because everything else is pre-framed for a positive experience and transition into more positive experience, i.e. our wellness care.
Yep.
And so, yeah. So sometimes when people say no, to me, it kind of feels like, oh man, like, well, that's good. Kind of dodged a bullet right there because not saying like, oh man, that's going to be like a bad thing or whatever, but it's like this ensures that they don't have a negative experience, right? Because if they were willing to say no to the care plan, that means that they are not bought all the way into our process. And so there are things that we can do to refine that. But
I think something too that you just said that I'm not exactly sure what triggered this in my brain, but I think a lot of the times, at least when I was early on in school, when someone would say no to wanting to get adjusted, I'm like, oh, they just don't get chiropractic. No, you just didn't convey it, you half a meatball. It's more of a reflection on you when you get told no. So what do you have to do to start turning things around and start reworking your processes, explaining things better, not saying a lot like I typically do on this freaking podcast. There's so many things that you can do to start reworking. And so when you get told no enough, that's when you'll start to actually make change. But can you be more preventative, right? Especially as chiropractors, we are in the prevention space. We're not a reactive necessarily. I work more with, pain and headaches and stuff like that. So I am more of I have this reaction. I'm having a reaction to being in so much pain. I now need to do something about it. But we know that the best way to avoid sickness or disease or pain in general is to be preventative. And so I had this big revelation on the phone with Travis that I was being more reactive in business and not being very preventative. I wasn't doing enough on the pre-framing processes, on our marketing, on everything. And so now I was having to be reactive. And you can be the same exact way for your business. But do know you're probably going to get told no a lot when you first start. Or at least I hope you do, because I think it builds a lot of character, one. And two, it's a sheer reflection of yourself, which is harsh, but it just gives you more insight into what you have to work on. It's a lot of reason why guys get into the gym. And I know I relate a lot of things back to the guy and girl relationship, but you can learn a frick ton when you start kind of looking at dating and how business also coincide with one another. Very similar philosophies. But a guy gets told no enough, he's going to start going in the gym. He's going to try to squat 405 or bench, 220. Like he's going to want to work on himself. And it's the same thing in business. You get told no enough, it's time to start working on you. And it's not necessarily the patient or the practice member or the client, whatever you say to the people that walk into your office, it's typically not their fault. It's your fault.
Yep, that's extreme ownership right there. Another good book. that
It's a good book. It's really good for
book
club.
clubs.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was
especially
about to say that.
Fridays at 6:30 in the
6
morning.
a.m.
Great, great. Typically, you can get through like 2 chapters and people are enjoying it, and then it's out on a Friday at 6 a.m. What we're alluding to is basically I tried to lead a book club in our fraternity when we first started, and I was
The only day that we didn't have to get up at 6 a.m.
yeah, we all woke up basically at 5 a.m. Monday through Thursday. And I thought, you know what? Let's go one more step. Let's do a book club at 6 a.m. on Fridays. And I got told no. So I had to work on how I presented things. But Extreme Ownership by Jocko is fantastic. And it might be intense, but so be it. You got to be intense to see results.
That's how I felt about Andy. And now, like, man, I can't get enough of his stuff because it's good. But speaking of Andy, did you listen to his latest episode where he talks about regulating his nervous system has been the best thing for his business?
Yeah, with cold plunging.
Yeah. I was like, man, maybe we need to get this guy adjusted.
He does get adjusted. He goes to a MSK chiropractor.
Nice.
Yeah, it's okay.
Good for him. Good for him. Good for chiropractic, man. Okay.
I think that's it. I think the rants are over. So yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed the congested rant. Enjoyed what we had to talk about. If you did gain anything from this podcast or have any questions that you want us to talk about, any topics that are coming to mind as you're navigating uh, the chiropractic world, or as some people like to say, the chiropractic world, um, send us a DM, send us a text message, whatever.
Share the
We'll
show.
be sure to answer it, and then share the show.
Pay the fee.
Pay the fee for sure. Other than that, we hope you all have a blessed week and continue to push on and keep more people out of not having to go down the pain pill route or the surgery route, or continue to live life in pain. So love you guys. Spencer, you got anything else? I think we're all set.
Oh, yes. We are also now on Apple Podcasts. So you can check us out on the Apple Podcasts for you people who choose to not use Spotify for reasons that I do not understand.
That'll be a discussion topic here soon. But all right, y'all. Love you guys and hope you have a kick butt rest of your day. Peace.